bunny lover, but you have to punch a panda. Do you do it?
Ooh, good question.
Saints Row is known for reveling in the absurd. In the last game, Saints Row 4, you become the President of the United States, acquire superpowers, and slaughter hundreds of aliens inside a virtual city. It only makes sense then that the standalone expansion for Saints Row 4 takes place in Hell, where Shakespeare, Blackbeard, and Vlad the Impaler all become your allies against Satan. For as crazy as it sounds though, Gat Out of Hell is business as usual in the most mundane way possible. While the enjoyable core of the series is present, it lacks the usual spark, making it an entirely forgettable side story.
Being the devil's daughter sucks.
What do you want?
I want to punch my dad in the face.
We're gonna get along just fine.
At least the setup for the expansion is amusing. The protagonist of Saints Row 4 has been sucked into hell via a Ouija board. It turns out that Satan wants to marry the former president to his daughter Jezebel. It's up to Johnny Gat and Kinsey, whom you can switch between at any time, to chase after the boss and take down the devil.
Fortunately for her, Johnny's trail of destruction wasn't too hard to follow.
While the premise builds up plenty of potential for the usual Saints Row antics, Gat Out of Hell is disappointingly thin on jokes. Outside of a well-done musical stint that was revealed over a month ago in the name of marketing, there are hardly any humorous moments to speak of. Even the aforementioned characters like Shakespeare and Blackbeard are barely present.
Shakespeare's tragedies moved throughout the entertainment district, eagerly awaiting their master's next command.
The reason it all feels so lacking is that there are very few traditional missions to speak of. Instead, the expansion requires players to fill up a bar known as Satan's Wrath to progress the story. To do so, you'll be tasked with doing the same minigames again and again. While these minigames work fine as distractions in the full-fledged Saints Row games, as a main course, they grow tiresome quickly. Gat Out of Hell even makes a fourth wall-breaking joke about how arbitrary its structure is, but that only pours salt in the wound.
Jezebel was eager to help Johnny in any way she could, and vowed to find a way to sneak him into the palace. Johnny frowned at the seemingly arbitrary amount of time required for Jezebel to find a way to sneak him in. But he accepted the fact that without traditional missions, this was the best way to further the story.
The expansion also strips out other simple pleasures from the series. There are no clothing stores, which is odd considering how much Saints Row prides itself on customization, no homies to call upon, and no radio stations to listen to. It's understandable that a $20 expansion wouldn't have as many bells and whistles as a proper sequel, but everything is so scaled back that it hardly feels worth it. It's not all bad, however. Early on, your chosen character sprouts angel wings and can freely fly around the city. There's nothing quite like leaping from the tallest building and soaring past enormous pools of lava. In fact, it's probably the most fun we've had traversing through any Saints Row game. Unfortunately, Gat Out of Hell seems intent on ruining the fun since anti-aircraft spires incessantly try to shoot you out of the sky. You're meant to take each and every one of those spires out at close range, which is incredibly tedious.
Let's play. That doesn't get old.
Thankfully, the core combat of Saints Row is unspoiled. The superpowers from Saints Row 4 return in the form of tweaked arcane powers, and the result is a chaotic good time. It's a simple pleasure clearing an entire room of enemies with seismic stomps, blasts from twin submachine guns, and repeated groin kicks. If nothing else, Gat Out of Hell is a reminder that Saints Row is still a perfectly suitable playground of destruction. You can even bring in a friend for some co-op carnage if desired. The only thing that occasionally dampers the carnage is a sluggish frame rate during the more intense encounters.
On the one hand, hell. On the other hand, guilt-free murder.
Yet nearly everything good about Gat Out of Hell has been done better in the main games. We remember laughing out loud during the last two Saints Row outings, but couldn't even muster a chuckle throughout the duration of the expansion. If you're absolutely desperate for more of the 3rd Street Saints, this jaunt into the underworld will just barely suffice, but most will be better off waiting for the next, and inevitably, more fully featured sequel.
Mr. Gat?
Who are you?
Well, I'm a...
We're not doing that again.